Ladies and gentlemen, shit just got real. The Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco has made waves not just domestically here in the US, but also internationally all across Europe. So heavy was the backlash that it even garnered the attention of prominent government bodies, chief among them Belgium's Gaming Commission. As I pointed out in one of my previous videos, Belgian website VTM began reporting that Belgium's Gaming Commission, in charge of gambling regulations in the country, is investigating titles like Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Overwatch to see if loot boxes can be categorized as gambling. The Commission's director, Peter Nason, said that if your ability to succeed in the game is dependent on random outcomes, which it is in Battlefront 2, then the Commission will have to consider it a game of chance. And if there is a game of chance, it is not possible to sell the game without a permit from the Gaming Commission. Nason's also said that loot boxes can be a particular danger to minors because of the societal pressure to spend money to boost their strength in-game. The bottom line was that if the investigation finds loot boxes to be considered gambling, it could lead to fines of up to hundreds of thousands of euros and the games in question being taken off shelves in Belgium. It's been a few days since then, but today, on November 21st, 2017, a deliberation has been made. Belgium has found that loot boxes are gambling and wants them banned in Europe. The following information once again comes from Belgium news outlet VTM News, which was translated by PC Gamer. According to the article, Belgium's Gaming Commission declared that, quote, the mixing of money and addiction is gambling. Then, Belgium's Minister of Justice, Koen Jeans, weighed in by stating, quote, mixing gambling and gaming, especially at a young age, is dangerous for the mental health of the child. Jeans also added that he wants to ban in-game purchases outright if the players don't know exactly what they're purchasing, and not just in Belgium, but also across Europe. Long story short, the battle against predatory and exploitative loot boxes just made significant headway. But that's not all, folks. It has recently come to my attention that the US government is now officially involved in action against video game publishers' predatory practices. The following information comes from Chris Kalani Cushman Lee, a Democratic member of the Hawaii House of Representatives since January 2009, who recently uploaded a YouTube video on his channel titled Highlights of the EA Predatory Behavior Announcement. In the video, Chris and 4 other people addressed concerns about Star Wars Battlefront 2's loot boxes and the danger of exposing children to gambling in video games. Instead of paraphrasing what they said, I'll just let Chris and company speak for themselves.
We're here today to ensure future protections for kids, youth, and everyone when it comes to the spread of predatory practices in online gaming and the significant financial consequences that it can have on families and has been having on families around this nation. This game is a Star Wars themed online casino designed to lure kids into spending money. It's a trap. And this is something that we need to address to ensure that particularly kids who are underage, who are not psychologically and emotionally mature enough to be able to gamble, which is why gambling is prohibited under 21, are protected from being trapped into these cycles, which have compelled many folks to spend thousands of dollars in gaming fees online. We're looking at legislation this coming year which could prohibit access or prohibit the sale of these games to folks who are underage in order to protect families, as well as prohibiting different kinds of mechanisms in those games. We've been talking with several other states as well, legislators there who are looking at the same thing. I think this is an appropriate time to make sure that these issues are addressed before this becomes the new norm for every game.
One of the things that's really disturbing about this to me is that this was previously a business practice that was mostly seen in the mobile gaming market, your iPad, your iPod games. And now it's moved into the main event. This is a AAA title that's being released by the world's largest gaming studio. And it has the most popular intellectual property in the world attached to it. And it's marketed squarely at children. We shouldn't allow Star Wars to encourage your kids to gamble.
When we've asked people to come forward, we've had representatives from not only the Christian, but also the Buddhist, the Jewish, the Muslim, Hindus, and a lot of others, all who have fears about gambling being introduced into our community.
I'm a parent of 2 teenage boys. I feel like this is just one more thing that we have to watch out for and try to protect our kids from. Gambling's addictive. There's a lot of other things we already have to worry about, other types of substance use that's addictive as well. And for parents, we can't protect our children from everything. Things that they can get on their phone, on their laptops, things they can do at their friends' houses, accessing games like this, we can't control it. So we do need help from regulations to help set boundaries when something is targeting, advertising, tempting kids to get involved in something that costs them money that they don't have. That might inspire them to try to access that money in some way.
It's just more and more money you have to spend to actually keep on playing the game. It's just frustrating. As a gamer, I'm just getting kind of sick of it, and this has been the tipping point, and a lot more people are getting involved. I have a 6-month-old daughter now, and I kind of see that the world she's growing up in, I better try to make changes now before she grows up and she's exposed to all this stuff.
Holy shit. This is moving a lot faster than I expected. I honestly thought it would take much longer for the conversation to reach the US, but I guess after major media conglomerates like CNN brought the issue to the limelight, this swiftness of action was inevitable. EA truly royally fucked up with this one. They got overzealous, pushed the envelope of what schemes they could get away with one step too far, with a marquee franchise like Star Wars no less, and the world took notice. Their rampant greed finally got the best of them. And they've not only screwed themselves, but also other game publishers like Activision, Take-Two, Ubisoft, among others who were intending on pushing the boundaries of predatory gambling systems in their future titles. Thus, the house of cards falls apart. They're finally getting what's coming to them. While I don't expect microtransactions to just disappear outright from the face of the planet once the dust settles, regulation should ensure that some of the more exploitative and predatory forms of the dreaded practices only reach a smaller crowd or are prohibited outright, discouraging publishers from attempting to implement them. This is definitely a major victory for gamers who are sick and tired of potentially great experiences being ruined by greedy antics, for those with a history of gambling addiction who want to play their favorite games without having to be exposed to this crap, and for parents who want to protect their children from a mechanic that uses the same psychological ticks as slot machines to keep players engaged. Now, don't look at this news and just assume that we can finally relax. If there was a time to make your voices heard, it is now, while the world is paying attention. Keep your guard up, keep speaking out against loot boxes and publishers who try to prey on consumers with them. See this fight all the way through. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you were as happy as I was to hear this news, and if you enjoy my content, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. All contributions will go towards helping this channel stay 100% independent and self-sustained. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.